Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is Ken the Revolutionary, bringing you another session. Quick one for the day. Quick one for the day. I won't stay here for long. I'll be here briefly because I want to speak to you on what's going on today on Kenyan politics. Well, the main news today was basically the burial of Ojwang. That's what's making news so far. But before I get started, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to uh, offer my condolences not only to Ojwang's family, but all the Gen Zs that lost their lives, and also to the football world. I would like to share uh, my feelings, my condolences to the great footballer who lost his life yesterday or the day before yesterday, the guy who plays for Liverpool, Diogo Jota, who died in a road accident. So anyway, with that to say, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I just wanted to really briefly talk about what happened in Ojwang's funeral. I didn't watch the whole thing. I don't know how the lineup was. I don't know who was involved. All I know is the little snippet that I watched. Thank you so much, Kitende. The first protocol is observed, absolutely. The first order of business is like the video, okay? And if you haven't subscribed to the channel. But yeah, thank you so much. Nice seeing you. Today, like I said, I didn't see the whole funeral procession of Ojwang. I know yesterday we saw the news that captured the nation when the youth, demanded to give Ojwang a proper escort, and they went to that police station where he was booked, and they set it ablaze. We know about that. Today, the little thank you so much, Mugendi, my brother from another mother from Uganda. Thank you so much. So, again, as I said, I never watched the whole funeral procession with Ojwang's funeral procession, but I saw a few clips here and there. And the one that actually caught my eye was when Gladys Wanga, Gladys Wanga was speaking, and he informed the crowd that Raila Odinga, who did not attend the funeral for whatever reason, which I found very suspicious, Gladys Wanga told the crowd, hey, pokeeni salamu or the condolences from Raila Odinga. And the reception was not too warm, but there were people who say, "Yay!" But it wasn't. There was lack of enthusiasm from that. And then Gladys Wanga again said, "Pokeeni salamu or condolences from President Ruto, who already called Ojwang's father and the family and whatever." And people just never even responded, bother even to say, "Yay, we are here to hear from." No, it was dead silence. A clear sign that the people who attended, especially the majority of them, the youth who attended the Ojwang's funeral, were not in any way excited about the news that Ruto, sent his condolences, to the family or whatever. It's a sign that Ruto is not famous, but is not popular in that area, Homa Bay area, I believe that was. Again, this whole broad-based government or blood-based government, as majority of people, Kenyans call it, to the Nyanza people, they feel like stepkids being forced to love their new stepdad, okay? The ODM followers who still love Raila Odinga, who, kind of still, they understand that Raila Odinga is a con man, but they still stick it to him because, he's been there forever. You can tell that they feel like they're being forced into this marriage or to accept Ruto, since Ruto is in bed with Raila Odinga, politically speaking. It just feels that way. It feels like people are being forced to accept and love Ruto, this Ruto regime, okay? And I'm sure they're not happy about this whole broad-based arrangement, government arrangement, okay? But anyway, another interesting part is when Gladys Wanga, after he said that, after she, announced that, Raila Odinga sent his condolences and President Ruto sent his condolences, and the, cold reception that she received for saying that, she kept on speaking. I guess Babu Owino received the most, raucous reception from the crowd. And after him, Gladys Wanga grabbed the mic and started addressing the crowd. And the crowd actually stopped her. They shouted her down, saying that, bring back Babu back to the fold. We want to hear from Babu. We don't want to hear from you. Ay, ay, ay. So anyway, Babu Owino returned to the podium and grabbed the mic and addressed the crowd. And then after that, that's the little clip that I saw, which I found was interesting. So it seems like the youth, the young people, majority of them who are actually standing by there listening to these politicians speaking, they were not too excited to see anybody besides Babu Owino. Now, like I said, I never watched the whole funeral procession, so I don't know who else had a chance to talk. I will do my research and see if Kaloma, I want to see if Kaloma actually had a chance to speak, because that will be the most exciting. I would like to see the kind of reception received from the crowd, okay? So I'll do my research, but I thought that was an interesting, like I said, the general impression, what I can make of what, based on the reception that Gladys Wanga and others received, the general feeling, impression that I get from, if you factor in what happened yesterday with the burning of the police station and hundreds of the youth coming in and, giving Ojwang a send-off of their own style, in their own style, it shows that the people from that region, a region that is assumed to be a stronghold for the ODM folks, they're not too excited about their leaders. They're not too excited about the fact that their leaders are now joined with the President Ruto's regime, okay? It's obvious by now. So, which I think it will spell doom for Ruto, because if this is an area that, one of the areas that he's hoping to, give him votes. And again, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I'm one of those people who are not supporting this idea of having elections in 2027 or 2026 or whatever the date, election date will be. I think the only way to take out Ruto is through a popular revolution. And by the signs, you can see even Luo Nyanza is not enthusiastic about the whole of the idea of Ruto staying in power or maintaining power. They're not excited about this guy. So I won't be surprised if Sabasaba, which is a few days from now, 3 days from now, turns out to be something bigger than actually the 25th of July was. Okay, not the last year, but this year. That's what I mean. Okay, so it will be interesting. And even in other news, the Gen Zs from different parts of the country in Kenya, they were having their mini gatherings and making TikTok videos, really amping up the mood in preparation for the Sabasaba. As you know, Sabasaba will be a continuation of what happened in 25th July, okay, which was preceded by the events last year, July 25th, 2024. And their aim is occupy State House, okay? And again, in a total, Ruto is in total defiance, announced that he's building a 1.2 billion mega church at State House. This guy had the audacity to tell Kenyans in a news conference, in a press release, saying that, when he got to State House, the church there was built out of mabati. So he's going to renovate that. And again, the cost will be 1.2 billion Kenyan shillings. This is an affront to Kenyan people. again, this guy is doing everything to piss off Kenyans. He's doing everything to actually make people mad. I don't know if he's just deluded or he just doesn't care anymore, or it's a combination of the two. Ruto is he's at this. To me personally, I think it's funny. It's not funny in reality, but it's funny how this guy is not only out of touch, but seems to give two shits about what's happening. Yeah, Omugendi, I can see you in the comment section. But yeah, so this is an interesting development. Like I said, while the country is mourning and is being plagued with this whole abduction, extrajudicial killing phenomena, or scourge of unconstitutional ways in which this government is carrying out its business, Ruto is busy spending taxpayers' money in ways that no one can imagine or could imagine, okay? And is doing it in the middle of, all these things that are happening. I mean, I just read that the DSP, was it Secretary General or whatever the case, the lady that was a high-ranking member of the DSP, Gachagwa's party, who was arrested or abducted a few days ago, was, she paid bail, and then she has been re-arrested again. I don't pay much attention as far as opposition politics is, the official opposition, the Gachagua, Matiang'i, and Wamalwa and Kalonzo and Martha Karua. I don't think there are none. I think they're a non-issue. They are a distraction. As always, I've always maintained that even though these guys are, claiming to be, injecting, so to speak, they're part and parcel of this political class. It's a game that they've played us for a while. Again, I maintain my position, given the fact that if these guys actually hated each other, if the politics was real, if these guys were actually working against each other for real, Ruto by now would have arrested Gachagua by now, arrested all these people that were are against him, who are speaking ill against him, who are trolling him day and night. But instead, Ruto is only going for the people that he deems to be a threat, not only to his regime, but to the whole political class. Those are the biggest threats, okay? So I do not believe that these members of opposition, the Martha Karuas, the Matiang'is, the Gachaguas, I don't think these guys are real enemies with Ruto. They are in one WhatsApp group. They're playing us along because the aim is to maintain power within this political class, okay? They want to play this reshuffling game to maintain power. They want to make sure that the next leader of Kenya comes from this pool of politically corrupt individuals who we've seen their deeds, their corrupt deeds since time immemorial. So that's the aim of the game, okay? But they have to play like they're against each other in order to divide us along tribal lines and along other kind of party lines and all that stuff, okay? That's the name of the game. So do not, for once, believe in Gachagua's bullcrap or Martha Karua's bullcrap or Raila's bullcrap or Uhuru Kenyatta's bullcrap or Wamalwa or Natembea. These are clowns, okay? These are morons that have been working for the system for a while, but all of a sudden they want to rebrand themselves and sell their nonsense, trying to convince us that they're actually against Ruto. They're not against Ruto. They want to maintain power. They want to make sure that power does not spill or go in the hands of real Kenyans who want to bring real change, okay? But they have to try to divide us. That's why they're so against all this nonsense. Even Raila Odinga was pretending to be supporting the whole idea of protesting. And he said, oh, there's no problem with protesting as long as you tell the police where you're going to protest and where from what time to what time. No. The Constitution is very clear that we have the right to picket, okay? And the right to picket, we don't have to. We can be courteous enough to tell the police where we are going to picket, but we are not obliged to do so. The law does, the Constitution does not say that we are obliged to tell the police that we are going to picket at Uhuru Park from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. That's not what the law says. We can choose to picket wherever we want, any public space, including the State House, okay? Including the State House, because State House is a public space. It's paid for by the taxpayers' money. So if we, the people who put Ruto there, okay, we have the right to go and picket at State House. And if we decide that we do not want that church to be built, we do not want Ruto to live in that house, we do not want Ruto to continue as the head of the state of the Republic of Kenya, that will be a legitimate way of removing through a popular revolution. It's enshrined in our constitution. So any crazy person who comes in and say, oh, State House is a protected place, or State House is a situated in areas that you cannot go, that is an NIS agent, just like Okiom Tata and that socialite Bimbo, what's her name? Esther Passaris. Do not believe in this. That's why wanajaribu kutuuzia uoga wakisema ati, oh, sijui, don't go there, mtauliwa, ati msiende huko. No. Why should they jaribu kutuua? Like I said, State House is a public place. The taxpayers are the money that Ruto is using to build that 1.2 billion church is taxpayers' money from the public. He did not consult us. I never saw that on the budget when they were making the budget, okay? I never saw that included. So where does he get that money? Who gave him the authority to get money from the treasury, okay? Or to withdraw money from Kenyan, what is it, KCB or whatever the case is, okay? CBK, sorry, Central Bank of Kenya. Who gave him the money to go to the Ninio, to remove money from our piggy bank, national piggy bank, to use that money to build a church? And number two, the reason why he's also violating the rights of other Kenyans, okay? Who told him that Muslims are happy with a church in State House? A State House should be a house that represents all Kenyans of all faiths, okay, of all or tribes, or whatever the case is. So if he's going to build a Christian church or a Catholic church at State House, where does that leave the Muslims, okay, the Hindus, the Rastafarians, the people who don't believe in none of that, the atheists? Where is their voice? How are they being represented by that church, okay? Or is it a universal church? He can't just build a place of worship in State House. That is in violation of our constitution, okay? And like I said, did the parliament approve of the funds, the 1.2 billion, to renovate that State House, okay? Because none of it was said in the budget. So he's doing so without our consent. And that's the point I'm trying to make here, okay? So, like I said, Ruto is losing his marbles. He lost his marbles a long time ago. It's not that he's losing it right now, but he has been losing it for a while now. So it will be interesting to see what happens as we continue to see more abductions and more people disappearing and more killings and all that stuff as we approach Sabasaba. Again, the drums are beating for Sabasaba. The only thing I would say about this protest is that, as long as we are giving Ruto room to breathe. Tunaenda maandamano once a month, okay? It gives him time to recoup, to gather himself, okay? Organize, ajipange, okay? If we want to take out Ruto immediately, maandamano inafaa kwa kila siku. Tukienda Sabasaba isiishe hivyo, iende tukiendelea every day ni maandamano. Everything comes to a standstill. Maandamano mpaka kwa airport, maandamano mpaka ku CBD, maandamano huko Kakamega, Kisumu, Mombasa, Eldoret, kila pahali. Until the economy comes down to a standstill and the people of Kenya demand that Ruto should step down. Not only Ruto, but Ruto with the whole executive branch of government and the whole legislative branch of government go home. And all this fake opposition, the Matiangis, the Martha Karuas, the Gachagwas, okay? All of them have to go. And we have to be clear about that, because majority of these people, if not all of those people that I've mentioned, whether in the Ruto government or the fake opposition, they have criminal record that disqualify them from running from a public office. They cannot pass chapter 10, chapter 6 of the Constitution. Okay? You can go look at your Constitution. None of them can qualify for that. Gachagua stole 200 million back in the days. Okay? Ruto has been grabbing land left, right, and said. Matiang'i has been caught in corruption. Martha Karua has been caught in corruption, taking bribes from British Tobacco Company or British American Tobacco Company. Okay? Everyone, Matiang'i, Gachagua, who else? Wamalwa, okay? Kalonzo Musyoka, okay? All of these people cannot pass chapter 10 of the Constitution, but you see them talking about running for president. They're not qualified to. They're not qualified to do so. So Kenyans should stand up. Like I said, the biggest problem in Kenya is not corruption, is not tribalism, but it is law enforcement. Law enforcement. The laws that are in place are not being enforced. So there's two ways we can go about it, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and comrades. There's two ways in which we can make sure that the Constitution of Kenya or the laws thereof, therein, are enforced. Okay? Two ways to do it. The number one way, okay, which usually works in majority of the countries, okay, it's through a coup d'etat. It can be a military coup d'etat. Okay? Military coup d'etat. But the problem with the military coup d'etat is this, because let me just break it down very quickly how the structure of power is designed in Kenya, okay? Even though we have a new constitution in 2010, here's how the power structure is. Even though the president, the executive branch of government, does not hold as much power as the previous constitution, still the president usurps power from every other arms of government, like it was before the 2010 constitution. So power is still concentrated at the center, at the executive branch. So in order for law enforcement to take place, or these laws to be respected or to be enforced, you have to remove the number one lawbreaker who has influence in all arms of government and the independent government institutions that he uses to rule. Because Ruto is not governing, he's ruling. He does not respect the rule of law. He does not respect the National Assembly or the Senate or the legislative body as a whole, because he has bought all of them. He does not respect the judiciary. The police are in his pocket. He's even ordering, Murkomen to go say the stupid things that Murkomen was saying, because power comes from the center. Ruto still has a lot of power, has not been shifted into these different independent institutions as it is supposed to be as per the 2010 constitution. So in order to make sure that we see that the constitution is fully implemented and respected and is being followed, we have to remove the cancer, the person on top, which is Ruto. And the number one way we can either do that is through a military coup d'etat. But the problem with the military coup d'etat is that you might be replacing one criminal with the other. What do I mean? Just because you have a military coup d'etat, it does not guarantee you to have a Ibrahim Traore in Kenya. if the military took over from Ruto, if they ask Ruto to step down and they take over, what makes you think, what guarantee do we have as Kenyan people that, what's his name, that the head of the, the head of the military, Tariri, whatever his name is, I forgot his name. What makes you think that he will follow the constitution? He will be ruling by dictum, just like Ruto, because it will be a military coup d'etat. The constitution shall have been suspended at that point. And when the constitution is suspended, your rights are not guaranteed. If the military perceive that you're a threat to the state, they might get rid of you. Now, like, that's why I'm saying, if you have somebody like Ibrahim Traore, who has a vision for an independent, economically independent country, then we'll be happy with him. But again, he can turn out to be a Museveni and say, I'm going to rule in perpetuity. Forever. He will change the constitution and continue ruling like Museveni until his kids come out and then alafu anaweka watoto wake. So that is option one. Remove the person on top. The person is Ruto, who have usurped power from all arms of government and all independent institutions that are supposed to help strengthen and implement and maintain the 2010 Constitution as we chose it. You understand? The second option that we have, realistic option, is through a people's revolution. A people's revolution. And I'm in support of the people's revolution because this will be a decision that is made by the sovereign people of Kenya. They will remove Ruto from power and the whole executive branch. They shall remove all the members of the legislative body, whether the senators, MPs. They shall remove all the governors, MCAs, and the ward leaders, whatever the case is. And they shall even decide how to revolutionize the judiciary. If there's a corrupt judge, maybe we should put Justice Chacha Mwita as the new Chief Justice once we get to Ninyo, because he seems to be the only one who means business when it comes to law enforcement or respecting the judiciary. He has always stood up, defended the Constitution, interpreted the law as to how the Constitution is intended. You understand? So the people can remove Ruto and pick individuals who shall represent the interests of the sovereign people. So since Ruto have decided to disregard the Kenyan Constitution, 2010 Constitution, now the people shall do what? May represent themselves directly by removing Ruto, going to the State House and declaring Ruto to be somebody, a raia, no longer the head of the state. It will be the people representing themselves directly because the parliament, as it stands right now, does not represent the people, the legislative body. They're not doing representation and they're not making laws. They're busy doing Ruto's bidding. You understand? Now, for those of you, like I had one of my guests and some of you who are arguing that, oh, no. Let's just wait till 2027, the next election, tutalinda kura. Tutalinda kura on the polling station. Ladies and gentlemen, I have made this point 150 million times for the umpteenth time. Unaweza kuenda kulinda kura all you want. Unanielewa? You can go and say you are going to vote for the Gen Zs that you want. But the election shall be decided by the people who count the votes. Now, let me explain to you what I mean by there, because I know you're sitting there saying, oh, but you know what? Si hizo vitu zinakuwa counted hapo kwa ninio, hapo kwa ninio, on the ground, hapo kwa ninio, because the election, ideally, the election should be announced. The election results should be announced at the polling stations. Ndio katiba inasema. But here is how they will steal it. Let me explain to you very simply, simple terms, so you can understand. And that's why I'm saying there is no need of going to the next election with these very IBC members who have been handpicked by Raila Odinga and William Samoei Ruto, because this is what they'll do. Okay, si utaenda huko ninio, umesema tunataka kulinda kura, tutalala hapo, you'll cast your vote and then sit there to linda kura. Guess what Ruto will do? Number one, he can do a couple of things. He will look at the strongholds of the opposition, okay? He understands that he no longer have the central Mount Kenya vote, okay? Sinamejua hiyo. Sinamejua. So ile kitu atasema, okay, Mount Kenya najua will not win there. Atasema haya, I'm giving up Mount Kenya. Waende wahesabu kura zao, waseme, but guess what he'll do? He will try to just aim for a percentage. A percentage, okay? So he will lose Mount Kenya, right? Sindio? I'll give you an example, because this is something that has been done. Unakumbuka 2007, vile Kibaki aliiba. This is what Kibaki did. And this is what will also happen in the US in 2020. Yeah? Vile Hillary alikuwa anajaribu kuiba kura. Ama Biden waliiba. This is what they'll do. Ataangalia the strongholds. Nyinyi mwende mkavote huko, mumemshinda Mount Kenya, he'll be losing in Mount Kenya, he'll be losing in maybe Ukambani or whatever the case is. All the strongholds that don't want him. Muhesabu, mufurahia ati mumeshinda Ruto, ameshindwa on landslide huko sides Central and all those strongholds, the opposition stronghold, okay? But he will hold the results of his perceived stronghold. So atahesabu yote the opposition stronghold like Kibaki did. Kibaki alisema wacha ile kura ya Central nitangoja, wacha nisikie wamepata na ngapi. Then mnanisikia? Then after wakisha hesabu ile si hizo zote za Mount Kenya huko zote na ameona ameshindwa, si ndio? Ameshindwa. Ataenda Rift Valley. In Rift Valley is his backyard. He knows he's winning in Rift Valley. Ataona okay, tumeshindwa na ngapi? Oh, yes. In all the opposition, hizo opposition polling station wameshafunga polling station. Nimeshindwa na let's say 3 million. Okay, sawa. Nimenishinda na 3 million. But meanwhile, the results from Rift Valley haijakauntiwa, Nyanza haijakauntiwa, Garissa haijakauntiwa, the places that he wants to steal. The constitution, si wali change IBC amendment bill. Si unakumbuka? Ili changewa. You see where I'm going with this? Eh? Sin IBC amendment bill ilishapitishwa illegally na mkakubalia, mkaanza kupiga makofi. Kwa hiyo IBC amendment bill, there's a clause in that law where it says they can be mobile polling stations. Kuna mobile police station. Ruto amekaa, atapigia huyo whoever the IBC commissioner is, atapigiwa simu ambiwe, Ruto, you are losing by 4 million votes. Okay. Tusha hesabu hiyo yote ya Mount Kenya, ya Central Province. Na huko Ukambani namna gani? Okay, na huko namna gani? Sasa. Twendeni sasa. Wataenda huko Garissa Northeastern. Huko Northeastern. Si kuna mobile ninio, voting stations. Utaona lorry upon lorry being brought by military trucks. Zimejaa ballot papers, ballot boxes, zimejaa ya UDA. Ruto votes. Utasikia tu Ruto is leading in Northeastern by 5 million votes. Si mnacheza na Ruto. No, mimi nawaeleza vile that's why nawaambia ati hii mambo ya kusema ati 2027 wacheni. Hiyo ni ndoto ya mchana. I'm telling you, ndio maana nawaambia there's so many ways of rigging this thing. And it's so clear that it's going to rig because mnaona hata zile ID ambayo ana print ID. One person has registered in Mombasa, the same person has registered under another name in Western Kenya, and the same person and with another with a different name is voting is registered in Rift Valley in another name. Unasikia? So there's so many ways Ruto will steal this thing. So hata wewe ukisema tunaenda kulinda kura, that is not enough. It is not enough. Atashinda. Na hiyo hata ikifail, unajua atafanya nini? If all that fail, ati mmemfinyilia sasa, ati mmemweka hapa na hapa, ati sijui nini. All he has to do is call Ninio vile Dani alifanya. Mutunga, who is now pretending to be a civil rights advocate. Very useless person. Ambaye anachukua pesa ya George Soros hapo. Mutunga atasema nini? What do you think Mutunga will say? Even though yeye alikuanga kotini, he was in the judiciary. He will do what Nani did. What's his name? The guy who died, the former IBO Chebukati. Akiona ameshindwa kila pali, atapigia Chebukati, the IBC person. The IBC will call a press conference to announce the winner of the presidential elections, okay? Kwa sababu Ruto does not care hata MP. He doesn't care what MP umevote. Hata ukivote Gen Z wa 10 huko Central na huko Nyanza ama huko Coast, he doesn't care. Yeye anataka presidency because he understands when he becomes the president, he will co-opt these MPs by giving them billions so that they can play ball or blackball them. Just like you see wakina Salasi wamefanywa, Raila and all these useless people that you see are running around with Ruto. Okay? So what he'll do is this. Atapigia nani simu, huyo the mkubwa wa IBC amwambie, ndugu yangu, fanya ile kitu. And the head of IBC ataita press conference aseme, we are here to announce that Ruto has won by 2 million votes, and we shall explain to you how he won 2 million votes later. Na nyinyi mtaanza kupiga magele, Ruto, kuna mtaanza kuchoma vitu, kuna kitu kama hiyo. Alafu atawaambia endeni kotini, mwache kupiga makelele, mwache kuchoma ninio vitu, endeni kotini. That is the constitutional way. Na atatuma polisi waanze kuwapiga hapo bunduki, anawaambia endeni kotini. Si mtaenda kotini. Guess who is going to be the Chief Justice by that time? Chief Justice at that time itakuwa Gladys Sholei, Chief Justice of Kenya. Gladys Sholei, a renowned supporter, staunch supporter of Ruto. Gladys Sholei atakuwa yeye ndio Chief Justice. Hata kama ni nani, hata kama ni huyu justice tuko naye hapo, huyo sijui anaitwa ngaje, hata nimesahau jina lake. Yeye mnangoja hapo nje. And the Chief Justice will not look at the evidence, atafanya vile Mutunga alifanya. Unakumbuka Mutunga vile alifanya 2013? Unakumbuka? Mutunga alikuja, akasoma sentence moja. Akasema, after examining the evidence, we have determined that Uhuru Kenyatta has won the elections. Alafu akatoka. He did not write an opinion. Akasema, we shall offer our opinion later as how we arrived at this judgment. Kwa nini? Ndio iwapatie time of writing a funny opinion on how they arrived at the fact that to uphold the decision of IBC of declaring Ruto the president. Unaona? So that's why when I hear people say that it means nitaenda kuchunga kura, I mean, I get you. I see where you are. We don't have to see everything, the same way. But I'm just like, you have to think like Ruto in order to beat him in his own game. Unaona? You have to think, if I was Ruto, how will I go about this? I know the country wamechoka na mimi, wanataka niondoke. How will I steal this election? By using the very constitution. Kwa njia ya, unajua constitution, if you want to break the constitution, or you want to, if you want to bend the law or manipulate the law, you either change it to benefit you, like they did with the IBC Amendment Bill, or you co-opt the people that have been put in place to carry out this constitutional mandate in their specific area. So like the IBC, that's the body that is what? That is constitutionally mandated to announce the winner of a presidential election. So what do you do if you're Ruto? You go and pick someone who's loyal to you, unampatia 50 billion shillings, umwambie, come rain or high water, whatever the case is, uni-announce mimi ndio nimeshinda hii kitu. I don't care hata kama watu, wewe mpaka nikuwa ninio. Kwa sababu he knows he can go to court and argue constitutionally, IBC ndio na declare. So hata nyinyi mkipiga makelele huko kama wakina Raila walikuwa wanapiga makelele na Azimio huko ati hey, we have the numbers, hey. Legally they can't do anything because the constitutionally mandated body that is supposed to declare who is the president is the IBC. Aya, na ameshajua ati mkishindwa na IBC, mkikasirika na hiyo hasira yenu, mtajaribu kwenda Supreme Court. Sinamejua mnataka kwenda Supreme Court. Sasa ndio huyo atapigia Abdenasir na Nelson Havi awaambie, hebu toeni huyo Kohome hapo kwa nini mweke Gladys Sholei. Toeni Gladys Sholei, sorry, toeni Kohome na huyo nani? Kohome. Now wakina just where Supreme Court is the one who handles presidential petitions. Okay? So your Supreme Court ata make sure your Supreme Court are in fact anawapatia bilioni 6 what kabla hiyo kesi ifike huko, because he knows that's the right channel, legal channel of how he can manipulate the system to give an outcome that he wants. So then mtakasirika kwa sababu IBC imesema ati Ruto ameshinda, mtaamta kupiga makelele, alafu mtaweka Ndegwa hapo, Ndegwa the lawyer na nani wakina ule lawyer Mkisi anaitwa nani, I forgot his name. Utaona hapo wameweka petition hapo, they are very busy. It will be on NTV, ABC. In fact, it will be very good for content. Watu watakuwa wanaangalia, tunangoja. Sholei is the Chief Justice. Now you know what happens. Now, once Sholei asha announced that I'm upholding the decision by the IBC that declared Ruto to be the president, hakuna pale utaenda, mtampeleka wapi? You will go back to the street just like something like this, the very thing I'm telling you right now, because at that point you will realize that hakuna pale mtampeleka, and the only way will be what? Popular revolution. The problem of waiting till then is this. By that time, ile ukabila itakuwa inachezwa hapo. Utaona Wanandi na Wajaluo wameanza kupigana na Wakikuyu sijui wapi. Before you know it, the country is on fire. Moto imewaka. Nairobi is a no-go zone. Moshi kila pahali. Kwa sababu people understand that Ruto ameshindwa, lakini he has manipulated the system, playing with the constitution and making the laws through an illegal process to benefit him. Lakini nyinyi wananchi mtaanza kupigana, mkishapigana watu wameanza kuchomoka, Kenya inachomeka, international body will come. UN, US, taona Trump atatuma mtu uko na sijui nani, wakae chini. Wakina Manyora watasema these people just need to sit down and talk. Haman Manyora, these people just need to sit down and talk. They just need, that's the simple thing. They need just to sit down. Lumumba will tell you they just need a dialogue, national dialogue. Oh, mnataka dialogue? There's a document called NADCO somewhere. Ebu fungueni hiyo NADCO. Then they shall do the same thing they did in 2007. They'll say, you know how stupid people are, these people are, or how they think we are. Then they'll say, unajua hii vita, it is caused because the constitution yetu haifanyi kazi vizuri. This constitution is the problem. Hii constitution haiwezi kupatia tu president peke yake ndiye akona hizi power zote. No, we have to create a position for a prime minister. We have to create a position for a deputy prime minister, 2 of them. And let us give every kabila a position. Unasikia? So, there shall be talks going on. Wakina Otiende Amolo and all these busybodies, these silly lawyers, will be sitting down trying to draft a bill. Constitution amendment inataka kufanyika. We are going to have a plebiscite. And by that time, most of you will be convinced that it is better to change the constitution so we can have peace, because ile damu utaona inamwagika hapo Nairobi na huko Kisumu na huko Eldoret na huko sijui wapi Kiambu na wapi ama Rift Valley, mtakuwa mnasema afadhali tugeuze katiba than tuendelee na hii damu inaendelea hapa. So let us tugeuze hii katiba ndio tupatiane hawa. Matiang'i will be deputy prime minister, Raila will be prime minister, Kalonzo will be another deputy prime minister, Martha Karua will be minister of justice, sijui nini. Haya mwingine sijui Ruto will remain the president. Now Ruto will still maintain his power. And he will still be dictating everything. In fact, they might say that presidential term, and since we are having a new constitution, presidential term iendelezwe mpaka 7 years ama 10 years. They're repeating the same thing. Na mimi naudhika kwa sababu I see people with thinking brains, or I think someone seriously tells you that Matiang'i is a viable candidate for 2027 or whatever the case is to rule this. Matiang'i ametosha. Someone with a brain comes and tells you that Martha Karua is fit to be president. Someone who claims to be thinking. Na anasema he's normal. Hajakunywa pombe ama hajavuta bangi. Anakuambia ati Martha Karua can be president. At is qualified to be president. Martha Karua who cannot barely spell. Gachagua. Anakuambia Gachagua. Raila Odinga. Conman mwenyewe. Ati that is the alternative. Hao wakiingia hapo afadhali watakuwa afadhali kushinda Ruto. Afadhali have you seen their track record? Listen to me. I was saying about Ruto this when everybody else walikuwa wananinio Ruto. Nikasema we have no option hapa. Hakuna mtu wa kusupport hapa 2022. We have Raila on one side and Ruto on the other side. Ruto was presiding over the ninio. Ile rulership vile alikuwa under Uhuru. Na amefanya hizo vitendo alifanya huko ninio 2007. Na hizo maninio, all those land that he has been grabbing and the people he has killed. Do you expect him to be a good president? Nyisa hiyo mko mahasla, sisi ndio mahasla, wheelbarrow ndio hiyo, paya. Raila Odinga ndio huyo. Mnafikiri ati is the option? Conman mwenyewe. Matiang'i who was Rivayala. Hata ukiangia unaona tu mtu ako na shetani kwa mwili. But you'll see someone a thinking adult. Kama hujarogwa sijui ni nini. Kama haujarogwa basi wewe I don't know what it is. That's the only explanation Kakame. Umerogwa. If you are going to support Martha Karua, Matiang'i, Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila, sijui Natembea, all these useless people, Kalonzo, umerogwa. Umerogwa na unafaa kuombewa immediately. Mumerogwa. And you deserve everything that comes to you. Musipige makelele. I'm telling you. Mukiambiwa, this problem is the system. You can't recycle these people. These people are the same. If Ruto really was the enemy of Gachagua will be in committee today for the atrocity he committed the years back. Zile pesa alikuwa ameiba before. If Uhuru Kenyatta was a true enemy of Ruto, Uhuru Kenyatta saizi angekuwa jela. Raila Odinga angekuwa jela. Lakini watu wanatucheza hivyo, wanajifanya ati we are enemies, one term, two terms, sijui kazo, sijui nini, tibi mtabam, kabam, kubu mkabam. After 7 years mnachapana hapa, alafu wanatengeneza coalition na mairudi tena ni mabeste tena. Go look at the clip when Gachagua was saying ati mimi nilitoa Uhuru Kenyatta, alikuwa analewa, alikuwa mlevi, nilimtoa kwa bani, nikamsafisha, nikamfanya akwe rais. Nowadays ukisikia kizungumzo ati they cannot abuse our son Ruto. Raila Odinga just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, anasema Ruto sijui nini, Ruto must go, Ruto cannot be, sijui Ruto ni mwizi, muaji, whatever the case. Sasa Raila Odinga ndio huyo amekaa na Ruto. In fact, he's supporting Ruto. Na bado you want to go vote for these people. Bado uoni ati hao watu wanatucheza. You still don't see it. Wewe unataka kwenda kulinda kura on 2027. Unaenda kulinda nini? Chali. Man, listen. Ati unaenda kulinda nini? Kura gani unaenda kulinda? Kura ilishaamuliwa. Hata ukilinda ukae hapa, hata ulale kama wale watu walikuwa wanalala kwa stadium. Ulale siku 6 before election. You will not. Hiyo mambo ishakatwa. Think ahead. The only way unaweza kufinya Ruto na umtoe ni through maandamano. Unaona, tushikane pamoja, kabila zote za Kenya, wavulana na wasichana, wanaume na wa kike, watoto wa baba na wa mama, tuende nje na tuseme Ruto ashuke na legislative body yote iende nyumbani, na tuchague a new IBC and a transitional government, and we start anew. Na tuseme mtu akivunja sheria ananyongwa. Hapo tutapata maendeleo. Si mchezo ya kinaokia mtata ati I'm going for odious debt, sijui naenda peleka vitu kotini, odious ya babu yako. Umbo wewe. Kina Jimmy Wanjigi anawaambia hapa ati sijui Kenya sijui Ruto is scared. Ruto is scared, na Jimmy Wanjigi was telling us that serikali ya Ruto na Kibaki, Ruto na Uhuru, it was made in his sitting room. So somebody who has close proximity to these people, do you expect them to actually go and prosecute them when he gets to power? Somebody who has made billions, his family has been making billions through corrupt deals using Goldenberg na mambo wengine. He has become billions because he has friendship connection with Uhuru, Ruto, Raila. You see, anytime something happening to Jimmy Wanjigi, the first person that goes there is Uhuru, Raila, or they go there. Now you expect that person to become the president and prosecute these very people. Are you insane? Don't you see the silliness that mchezo town inaendelea hapa? It has to. Ndio maana hiyo kitu iliwekwa kwa constitution. Chapter 1. Kwa sababu walielewa hawa wanasiasa itafika mahali there's a place where they decide not to represent the people anymore. Tuliwavotia lakini wakafika huko hawa wanajiongeza tu mshahara. Na Ruto amewanunua wote. Ndio maana constitution iko na provision hapa ambayo inasema the people may do what? Represent themselves what? Directly. Sasa ni wajibu wetu tukuje pamoja kama wananchi na to represent ourselves directly by going there and say, already we've dismantled parliament. Twende ni state house sasa. So we can declare Ruto no longer the head of the state of the Republic of Kenya. That's what I mean. Hii mchezo ya sijui election, it has already been decided. Kama Ruto alitumia Pegasus, he was running against a sitting president na Raila, akawashinda. Now this time he's the head of state. Ako na intelligence, ako na bunduki, ako na majeshi, ako na polisi, Ati this year ndio mnataka kusema ati mnaenda kumtoa. That's why you see he's trolling you. He's trolling you. Nyinyi mlimwambia ati asitoe milioni sijui ngapi kwa kanisa akienda kutoa sadaka. Akasema, you know what? Okay, that's what you want. I'm going to build a church at State House. Ndio niwakasirishe vizuri. That's how confident he is. That's how arrogant he is. Kwa sababu amejua hakuna pale mtampeleka. Ndio maana nawaambia hata hizi maandamano mkifanya, maandamano should be every day. Hii maandamano ya kufanya once in a month, it's not effective. He's not worried. Mtaenda saba mchapane bunduki mkimbie, alafu taisha. Alafu atawapangia tena the next time. Mnataka kuja, okay, wacha tuwangoje. You are giving him time to do whatever he wants. Lakini maandamano mkifanya kila siku, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, na mnasema hatutoki mpaka Ruto resign. Ataita majeshi kwa sababu polisi watakuwa wamechoka, hawajakula, hawajalipwa. Majeshi ndio hao wamenyimwa lunch. They will join us to declare kufukuza Ruto. Ruto tabaki huko England pale yako saizi na hata rudi. Tutasema ndege imebeba Ruto isirudi hapa Kenya. Akirudi Kenya hiyo ndege iland committee. Hiyo ndege iland committee akirudi. Isiland hata JKI committee hapo. Compound ya committee tutatengeneza kanini airstrip hapo na nini, arudi na helicopter land committee. Na hapo committee tutamnyonga. That is what I mean. Hii mchezo wengine yote ni mchezo tu. Ati 2027 hakuna kitu. Hakuna kitu. Hakuna demokrasia hapo. But anyway guys, I've been preaching for like 1 hour. I didn't even plan to go this long. So I will do my research on what happened at Ojwang's funeral. Nione nani alizungumza na akatukana na wakadinio, whatever the case is. But for the meantime, happy July 4th to all. Independence Day to all Americans out there across the world. Enjoy. Other than that, please, if you're going to watch this on repeat, please take a moment to like the video. And if it's your first time here, we talk about Kenyan politics and wild politics as it relates to Kenyan politics. So subscribe, share, like, comment, and do all the good stuff. Thank you so much, Shimariam, Principal Kaur, and every Amugendi also from Uganda, and everybody else across the world who have been watching this session and has been following. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later. Peace and blessings. I'm out.